I'd like to welcome everyone to the inaugural podcast of Lead the Stack. My name is Paul O'Neill, and I'll be having a discussion today with Wells Shi. Wells is a head of global product development for us at Hengtian, and we have a special guest, Alan Molloy. Alan is the Chief Technology Officer at Aryza. Aryza in Dublin is in the debt consolidation space. And Alan has been on an interesting journey to move his business onto cloud technology in the midst of very acquisitive growth. And I think we'll be able to get some very interesting insights from Wells and Alan. So let's get into it and have a chat.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet everyone here. And I'm Wells Shi. I'm the head of global business of Hengtian, managing the various our global clients.
Thanks, Wells. Alan, please.
Hi, I'm Alan Molloy. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of Aryza Group, which is a global financial services fintech.
Well, why don't we start, if we could, with a quick question, Alan. What is Aryza's mission, and how can you tell us how your role as CTO has evolved in the last year or two?
Yeah. So Aryza Group are a private equity-backed fintech, headquartered in Dublin, and our mission is to improve the financial health of our clients globally. And we have a large portfolio of products that cover the full credit to debt life cycle, from originating a new loan the whole way through to collections, and if it goes well or not so well, the technology suite that businesses would use in order to be able to navigate that for their clients as well as possible. I joined the business approximately 2 years ago. A lot of the growth in the last decade has been acquisitive growth. We've been buying companies that are in this space of credit and debt technology. And my role as CTO is to take all of the complexity that comes with acquisitive growth and see if we can improve things for our clients post-acquisition. And there's a lot of challenges in that related to the complexity that comes with acquisitive growth. And I've been working quite closely with your organization at navigating how we distill that complexity and deliver as much value as we can for our customers.
Well, that's great. Thanks for that. You've actually answered my next question, is what led you to take on this cloud transformation effort that you've been dealing with. We all know that legacy systems can be good and bad. Maybe if you can give us a bit of what you find to be most valuable and what's most limiting, that we'd appreciate that, I think.
Yeah. I mentioned the fact that a lot of our growth has been acquisitive growth. And with acquisitive growth, we end up acquiring different technologies, different products. Some of them overlap. Some of them are different from each other, solving the same problem in different ways. And so there's a lot of complexity there that needs to be addressed in order for us to be able to deliver the most value. So that removing unnecessary complexity is one large part of the job. A second part of it is related to the fact that, in addition to just that complexity, a big opportunity that exists for our clients is where we've got a big portfolio of companies, but a lot of the original organizations and the products that they built would only have been serving their own domestic market. But by becoming part of a larger global organization, there's an opportunity for us to bring the value of some of the products in our portfolio to some of the customers of the newer acquired companies. And so that involves us extending and enhancing the products that we've acquired that would maybe have only focused on a domestic market and bring them to a global audience. And thirdly is the fact that we're scaling. And so The shift towards a more cloud-oriented approach allows us to globalize and to be able to handle that sort of scale that a smaller company that had been serving a domestic market with a single product may not be able to achieve. So they're the main drivers. It's the get rid of the complexity as much as we can, deal with being able to bring products to our global customers, and be able to deal with scale. They're really the three problems that I'm looking to solve.
So, right, yeah. Well, that all makes sense. Tell me, what were some of your key milestones along the way here, and how did you manage kind of the risk of meeting those? That would really help our audience here.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me was, as we shifted from being a single product, organically grown company to being a portfolio focused company, I was very keen to bring a very product centric approach to how we look at things. There's a risk when we've juggled so many balls with acquisitive growth and that sort of rapid growth that you start chasing things. And so shifting the model to being one where there's stable, persistent teams that have ownership of a particular product or collection of products was a real critical milestone for us, because it enabled things to stabilize in a very, very complex environment where a lot of things are changing on a rapid basis. So that shift towards product centricity. With that comes the opportunity to introduce a lot of practices and a lot of discipline that come out of the whole product world, product technology world, product management disciplines in particular. And I've been working with Wells and the team over the last year or two at bringing those to bear, where the teams that we acquired maybe didn't have as much of a need for that when they were a small single product company, but it becomes much more critical as we evolve a much more complex portfolio. That's probably the biggest single change. Other things that we're investing in currently are in globalizing our products for scale. There's a significant investment in cloud, and the cloud transformation of a number of our products is ongoing. The relationship between my teams and Wells and the team is quite seamless. We don't consider it as being a client-supplier relationship. We consider it as being a partnership. We do, because of the fact that we've got distributed teams, rely on team collaboration software a lot. So we're on tools like this video conferencing tool a lot. We're sharing on Microsoft Stack we use. So we're using Teams a lot, SharePoint a lot. The fact that we're two different organizations becomes quite academic. So that we're all just members of the one team, and that product centricity that I referred to, Paul, earlier, comes to bear. So we just consider that we've got a collection of people, regardless of their employment contract, working with a common purpose to deliver the best products for our customers. And just culturally, it's not just the technical enablement of it, but culturally, the fact that we just have that common purpose in each one of our product-centric teams helps an awful lot. Everybody is pursuing the same mission. I don't know, Wells, do you want to add anything to that? But that's the main thing for me, is that it is a single team around the products that we're selling. And your teams and my teams, they're all just the one team, and they think the same way about it.
Yeah, apparently that's the from the distance perspective and from the time zone perspective, that's the Dublin and Hangzhou are in the different, are very different, and the agile collaboration and communication tools build the fundamental stuff for the communication and the collaborations. However, I agree with Alan. That's the cultural thing is the very key. That's the two teams should be in sync with the same culture, with the same goal, and with the same the rules to work together as a one team. That's a very key to us to make it successful.
That's actually, thank you. That's great insight from both of you. How do you think that the Jira may have helped here? The approach that we've used with Jira, Is there any comments on that or the digitized approach that we've taken to tracking progress and costs and so forth?
Yeah, yeah. I'm a really strong advocate of observability. You get what you measure, and um, the teams have collaborated to ensure that all of the work that people are doing is captured so that it's possible for us to make it observable. Before we had something of that nature, that sort of passive just way of being able to measure and make visible in order to be able to measure the work that people were doing. More traditional project management techniques had been used. I've personally believe that it's much more effective for the work itself to be observable in a kind of a passive, lightweight sort of way. And by working with Wells and the team, Mary in particular, has helped us put together a way of being able to capture in a consistent fashion, but without mandating top down a forced mechanism through the teams that would disrupt their software development lifecycle or how they build software. So the two aspects of it to me are that the measurement is relatively passive, so that it's not disrupting and mandating or dictating to the teams, and it leaves the teams empowered and able to make their own choices, but it still makes it observable, and then we can make much more data-driven decisions based on what's actually happening on a day-to-day basis. We did put some rules around it for consistency, like ensure that we've got information that's queued or work that's queued is treated differently and categorized differently than work that's been actively worked on, for example, is one example. But each team might have a totally different set of state transitions in their workflow, and that's okay. It still works with that level of variability across the teams. We found it incredibly powerful because it just allows us to see exactly what people are working on, exactly how long things take, and it also allows us to see cause and effect, like the scientific method. We've got something measured, we make a change, and then we see what impact it has on the measurement, and rinse and repeat. It works really, really well for us. So it's been very, very powerful as a means of getting the teams towards being empowered, but still being able to continuously improve.
Well, it sounds like that's all going very well. Is there any tangible business value other than, certainly the streamlining and working together? Is there anything there that you could share with us that you've seen come out of?
Yeah, the biggest has been speed. By being able to identify queues and be able to remove queues, then for the same amount of work and same amount of effort, you get much, much faster delivery of work. That would have been much more difficult to achieve without being able to just shine a light on blockages in the system. So a lot of it being the sort of principles that emerge out of the lean movement have come to bear and have been really, really effective for us being able to increase the speed of delivery in the teams. Our cycle times have collapsed from probably by about like 70-80% in the period of time.
Yeah, I also agree that with the digitalized approach for the programs, the traditional project development life cycle became measurable and predictable, which is very important to the business. Meaning, when people see that the work burned down in a steadily in a predictable way, that's give the senior management the very high level overview of the health of the projects, and also give the confidence of the team that they can see that it's progressing.
Yeah, you're right. Well, so one thing that's really tangible in terms of a business benefit has been the fact that expectations get met or exceeded much more frequently than historically, because that predictability comes with the shorter cycle times. These things are all interrelated with each other. With a shorter cycle time, you get higher levels of predictability. The higher levels of predictability mean that the expectations are met or exceeded, which builds confidence with clients, and it just builds, it snowballs from there.
Very interesting. Alan, looking ahead, have you seen that this new structure is going to allow you to build new capabilities? certainly would allow you to respond to clients better.
Yeah, I think that Wells' point there about predictability is a good one. With predictability, you get a lot less unplanned interruption to work, which in effect creates capacity for more creative, value-oriented work to be done. And so we certainly do see it as an opportunity for us to be able to deliver more value add to our customers much more frequently. The way that we're using that now is to look at how we re-platform our products in order to be able to deliver more global value to our customers at a faster pace. So a lot of our focus at the moment is on re-platforming with more cloud-oriented technologies than before. Some of the businesses that we would have acquired would have built their systems maybe 2 or 3 decades ago. And there's an opportunity now for renewal of those systems to take into account a lot of things that are available now that just weren't available 20, 30 years ago when cloud native systems weren't available.
Alan and Wells, thank you both. What advice would you give to other technology leaders who are about to undertake this process that you've been through together? Can you give us, you've given us great insight as to what's going on. Is there anything here that we may have missed that you'd like to share with others?
I would say that great things happen when there's high levels of trust. I think that would be the main takeaway. And so if the conditions aren't there, if I was advising, a peer of mine in another organization, if the conditions aren't there for there to be a trust-based collaboration, I'd say that's probably an unsurmountable barrier. So address the trust would be one thing. I've already covered in the previous discussion that we've had about making things observable is a particular passion of mine. And so if you've got a trust-based relationship where it's not a client-supplier relationship, but it's more a partner and it's seamless and you can't actually tell which, you've got there when you can't tell which organization the people work for. The way that people identify is by what they are accountable for, what they own. And in our case, that's the products that people are the custodian of. So if you've got that, and if you've got measurability and you've got trust, then really, really good things happen. You'll get continuous improvement from then on.
Yeah, I would agree with Alan's points that the digitalization of the whole management process would be very keen in the current AI era, because that's everything is now digitalized and with the data to support to making the decisions. I've been working with various of the organizations, CIOs, and the common thing I've ever observed is that we all apply the digitalized approaches to do the measurements and to make the decisions so far.
Well, I think that was a great discussion. I hope everyone can take something of value in the discussion that we had with Wells and Alan. Great insight for us. And it would be great if you could follow us on our LinkedIn company page, and we'll provide a link that will help you do that. Hope you enjoy your journey wherever it may take you, and see you on the next podcast of Lead the Stack.